Well, friends, this is called Citing Sources, MLA, and APA, and there is every chance that this will be a little bit dull. I'm going to do my best, but I can't promise that it will be super interesting. I will, however, try to cover the basics. As I said in a previous lecture, to write a research paper, you need to follow these steps. You need to develop your own ideas first by reading and summarizing and thinking. And as you're reading, you want to look for a mixture of primary and secondary sources. You need to seek out the scholarly sources using the databases that the school provides. And then you need to identify non-scholarly sources and use them carefully. Choose your supporting sources for color or authority, unusual facts, a countering point of view, and sometimes for a complex idea that you need to paraphrase. Properly introduce each source within the paragraph, and cite your sources in parentheses, footnotes, and notes, and a works cited page. And we're going to talk about the in-text parentheses and the works cited page in this lecture. Now there are two sources that we're going to go over. We're going to talk about the MLA and we're going to talk about the APA. The MLA and the APA are the two rival sources that most undergraduates learn to use. I'm most familiar with the MLA and less familiar with the APA. The MLA is the Modern Language Association and the APA is the American Psychological Association. The MLA is used for more or less literature and the APA is used for more or less social sciences. For a lot of the sources, a lot of the papers you're going to be writing are going to be put in the APA. So I'm choosing to teach that, even though for English we would prefer the MLA. I'm not going to read each of these to you. I want you to note that for the MLA, if you're going to quote somebody who's got an authority on a topic, like our Dr. Sheets here, who's the head of the famed Goldberry Clinic, you want to put Dr. Sheets in the MLA with the author John White, in parentheses, White, and then you put the page number in rather than putting the year in. If we look at Dr. Sheets in the APA system, Dr. Sheets is quoted by John White, but in this case we put the year in. The APA prefers that we feature the year of the research, and so we have White, 2006. Let's go on to the next type. Let's say you found a direct quote from someone else who was on the spot. That person added color and emphasis to your ideas. And you found that in a newspaper. So we have Maureen O'Connell, who's quoted in this newspaper, and the article was written by Gillian Turner. And Gillian Turner's article was called Living with Epilepsy, and it was published in the Morning Call. So for the MLA, we would feature the last name Turner and A4, because we want to know for the MLA, where did you find that particular, who wrote that and what page was it on? That's the MLA approach. If we go to the APA, we see again that we have Maureen O'Connell, and she's living in Bethlehem. She's still serving as an in-home health aide for 3 clients with epilepsy, and she still loves her work. But in this case, we want to know, when did she say that? So we have Turner and we have 2015. We're more interested in the year in which that happened for the APA. Let's go on to that unique fact you found that you didn't find anywhere else. So in the MLA, we would still prefer to know something about where you found it in the book. So in our book, Living in America, Dr. Hughes of the National Institute of Health talks about the various number of home accidents, and we've read this before. And here we quote, because Dr. Hughes is in the sentence, we only need to refer to the page at the end. And so it's referenced in parentheses as the page number. If we go to the APA, once again, we're interested in the year, but we can put it right next to Dr. Hughes's name. So we have Dr. Hughes 2020. You can see the 2020s in the middle of the sentence there, and that's where the APA prefers to have that happen, right next to the name of the author of the book. Now this is a source that I found in a couple of different versions, and this is one reason why you might actually want to use an auto generator, because to be honest, there's a couple of different versions of how you can represent this, and so I would be, like every other, I think, reasonable instructor alive, not be too fussy about if you got it quote-unquote wrong. But here we go. This is your citation of motor skills from Grover's Encyclopedia of Epilepsy, which was edited by Robert Edelman, Volume 8, Grover 2020, Grover's the publisher, page 45. And so in the MLA, we have our paraphrase, which we've talked about before, and then we have, quote, motor skills, close quote, and the page 45. Once again, the MLA featuring where did you find it exactly. If we look at the APA, we're seeing a slightly different version of this. Motor skills is represented first, and then the year is next. And then we have Robert Edelman as the editor. We have the Grover's Encyclopedia of Epilepsy. We have the volume and the pages, which is, I think, one of the few places I've found the pages featured in the APA. And then we have Grover again. But as our in-text citation, we have Motor Skills 2012. So I hope you're seeing a pattern here. The APA prefers the year. The MLA prefers the page number. So we'll talk about why that is a little bit later. But you can see that generally speaking, when you're comparing these two systems, one system prefers when and one system prefers where. All right, our last citation example. This is someone you or others disagree with, but you want to show some kind of balance in your presentation. Sorry, I had to take a little break there to get some tea down and a cough out. All right. This is a website, and the website has a page called Day to Day. So we're going to feature that Day to Day page in the MLA because that's where it was on the website. It's the National Epilepsy Foundation, and you located on the 12th of September. The day you located is gradually dropping out, but when the website is something that doesn't have a permanent state, it is still preferred that you give the date if it's a website that's not a stable website. All right, let's take a look at the APA. The APA would like you to feature the name of the owner of the website, the writer of the website, and the year 2021 again. And they put the article that was on the website second after that, and then they have the location of the website. So these are all just kind of a survey of how these are done. And now I'm not going to read this to you, but these are a representation of the first set of research in the APA and the second set in the MLA. So you can kind of see the two. And I happen to have underlined the topic sentences in the second version. Now, what to know? If you're using the MLA for a works cited page, it is alphabetical by last name, and you should prefer to find sources that have known authors. And as you're reading, identify the type of the source, make a note of all the elements of the source that you need to represent, whether that's author, title, type of sources, pages, publishing date. Just take good notes on what you're looking at. And check out how it should be represented using the library handouts. The library handouts are just excellent on this. Same thing here. Really the same kinds of recommendations. Make sure that it's also alphabetical by last name. Make sure you've taken notes on everything you need to know, and just check it out because the library handouts are going to be your friend here. Here's a version in the MLA style, alphabetical, and here's a version in the APA style, also alphabetical, but note that the year comes out as almost the second item and is the most prominent item to visually in the listing. All right. I also recommend the Purdue OWL, and for a third time, check out the library citation guides.